The body's made up, we have systems, we have a heart, and we have a circulatory system with blood vessels that move blood around, and we have a nervous system, and we have an endocrine system, and we have an immune system, and all these things. All of these things are made up ultimately of different molecules, of cells. There's all kinds of things going on that we don't see. You look at a person, what do we see? We see a body, we see hair, we see a face, we see skin, we see eyes. But that's how a person appears. But the number of things that go on, right? We say in the bracha, Rofei chol basar mafli lasos. What does it mean, mafli lasos? We thank Hashem, Rofei chol basar, blessed is Hashem, who heals all flesh, or mafli lasos, and does wonders. What are the wonders? The wonders are that if we had any idea how many things, the cell's made up of, I believe the number is hundreds of trillions of cells. I'm not 100% certain, but it's a massive number of cells. And there are different kinds, and there are skin cells, and blood cells, and immune cells, and muscle cells, and liver cells, etc., etc., etc. And any one cell, which is microscopic, and you need a microscope to see it because it's so small. If you look at it under a microscope, especially a really high-resolution microscope, each cell is like a full factory with thousands of different things going on at the same time. And every single thing that's happening inside a cell has to happen with precise perfection. And all the different things are connected to each other, and one thing happens in one system in the cell, it affects all the other systems in the cell that are happening at the same time. Everything has to be perfectly balanced. And that's just within one cell. And we have trillions of cells in the body at the same time, which communicate with each other through the blood and the nerves, etc. Everything, the number of things that are happening at any given instant in the body are mind-boggling. Right? People will ask, if someone's not feeling well, Rahman al-San, someone's unwell, you ask, what happened? Really, the question should be, when someone is functioning healthy and well and there are no issues, it's like, whoa, how does that happen? The number of things that have to happen with unimaginable precision and perfection for a body to just be alive and for a person to be healthy is just, it's mind-boggling. And all of that's going on all the time. There are so many things that are going on, and we don't see any of that. You just see a whole person. All of that's going on behind the scenes. And that's why different medications do different things. They interact with different things. They might look the same, but it's a different active ingredient. And it's different active ingredients, same shape, same color, same size. It's going to do a completely different thing in the body. There are so many things happening in the body, and different active ingredients will interact with different parts of different systems and make completely different things happen in the body. There's so much going on behind the scenes. And when a lay person, a regular person, looks at another person, we see things very differently to the way, what a doctor will see when they look at a person. Let's step back just to illustrate this example that I would use for different things about the power of where we are and how that affects, the mindset that we have determines how we perceive things. Imagine someone's walking down the street and there's a crack in the sidewalk. There was maybe an old tree and it had a big root that was growing under the sidewalk, and the root came up and the sidewalk cracked and it has a big crack, and someone walks. You have three people walking down the sidewalk. One's just regular, normal person. And walks past and says, oh wow, look at that crack. And maybe a few people, and you'll have, a botanist who walks past and is fascinated by the tree and the root, and imagine how long it took for that to grow gradually and got so big that it was able to crack the concrete. And then you have a sports doctor who walks past and is just envisioning the injury that's going to happen to someone's ligaments in their knee if they trip and they hurt and they tear their ACL. It's not going to be good. That's what they're seeing. And the lawyer's walking past and the lawyer's seeing the court case that's going to happen after the person hurts their knee. Right? Each person sees things differently. So when a regular person who is, isn't medically informed, let's say, looks at a person, we see a person, personality, character, etc. A doctor will look at a person, and even within doctors, right? A orthopedic surgeon looks at someone and sees bones and joints, and an endocrinologist looks at someone and sees all the different things that are happening and all the hormones and things that are going on around their body. and a neurologist looks at someone and is thinking about the brain and the nerves and the electrical signals that are going through their body. Each doctor with a different specialty, and that's what they think about. That's what they see in the person. And all of these things are true. There's so much going on inside a person, and all of them are true. We have a complete nervous system which is complicated enough that it could be an entire specialty. And you could have doctors who spend their whole life studying and training and specializing just in the nervous system. And you also have that for the circulatory system, and for the lungs, and just for the heart itself, which powers the circulation, and for the immune system, and for muscles, etc., etc., etc. There's so many different things going on. And each of them is its own world, and all of that is happening inside of us, all at once. And all of it has to work perfectly together. The fact that a regular person who's not a doctor or interested in biology or medicine doesn't see any of that doesn't mean it's not true. It's all there. Right? Life's a lot simpler if you don't see all of that every time you look at someone. You see a person, it's simple. But the fact is that all of those things are there. And for ourselves, we don't feel all those things, right? When a person's healthy, we don't feel the blood circulating in our blood vessels. We don't consciously feel our breath, hopefully. Most people are not even aware of the fact that there's a nerve system and there are messages being carried around our body with nerves. And all the different things that are happening in our body, and our kidneys are constantly filtering blood, constantly, doesn't stop for a second. All these things are going on constantly. We're not aware of any of it. Doesn't mean it's not true. And the fact that we're not aware of it consciously doesn't mean that it doesn't affect what we experience, because ultimately the conscious experience that we do have, the fact that we're able to sit and talk to a friend, or sit and read a book, or sit and daven, whatever it is that we're doing, our conscious experience is a result and an outcome of all these things that are happening, even if we're not aware of it. If any of those things, Rahman al-Islam, stopped working properly, it would affect our conscious experience very much. So even though our conscious experience isn't aware of those things ultimately determine the experience that we do have.